This is the Nightwolf howling at you, and today we're going to take a look at the G.I. Joe Classified Series figure of Blowtorch, part of the Joe team. And I kind of think he was one of the more anticipated figures, although I was expecting him kind of to be a repaint of Barbecue, to be perfectly honest, with a new harness or something. But let's go ahead and take a look at the figure, or the box I should say. On the side we've got some nice artwork of him using his Flamethrower. On the other side we get the little informational stuff. And on the back, we do get our usual product shots. I'm kind of thinking that this is probably the same backpack that we got with Barbecue and Torch. Those were the same, weren't they? Anyway, let's go ahead and open this sucker up, shall we? So, Blowtorch, of course, comes with the backpack with all of his gas and stuff in it to do the flaming. And a tube that we can connect to it. Here he's got, oh, and a little flame effect that comes off of there. His actual flamethrower thrower. And it's definitely a new piece. It also looks like it may have a... I wonder if this is supposed to be like a small propane torch to keep this part lit separate from everything else. And that too plugs into here. The little lip down here probably means that we can attach this somehow. Although, if this was, again, the one that was made for the other two figures, this may not actually work on here as well. So we can kind of get it on there like that. Although I think it would have been better if this part had been designed a little bit longer so that this opening here could have fit on there. But as you can see, it is just a little bit longer. It's one of those, like, it's almost there, but we might tear it if we try to do it on there, you know? Plus, let's be honest, this thing would probably get in the way too, like that. So the only real way to store this is by going like that, which looks dumb. But we do have two separate flame effects, and I believe both of these came with Torch. So we've got that one there. And we've got this one. Honestly, I do think this is my favorite flame effect that they've created. But again, we can just go back for this one for display purposes, which is probably what we're going to use. He does come with a small pistol that will fit into the holster on the side here. Theoretically, there we go. And that is actually, looks like it's sculpted onto his butt part too, his diaper, as well as his belts and stuff. Honestly, that's not a bad idea, at least on the side. Darklong had the same thing, but actually on his ass, which was kind of awkward. But you know, these belts always slip all the time, and it's super annoying. So I guess I can't complain too much about it. This one does seem far more functional, though, than Darklong's had been. He does have a face sculpt. Unlike Barbecue, we can actually see what he looks like because his equipment comes off. So he's got a small air... I wonder if that's supposed to actually purify the air there, clear it out, or if that's a small air tank attached to it. That does not seem like it would give a whole lot of time. But then again, he's not actually going into a fire, he's setting the fires, so there is that. I believe the Joe team has said that these little discs here are supposed to be part of the cooling system on this figure. We'll probably see a repaint of him in brighter colors, though, bright yellow and bright red for the Retro Cardback series when they get around to doing him. I'm still hoping we get retro card back Night Force figures colored in the proper Night Force colors with the Dayglow orange and yellow. Articulation wise, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this twice though. Once without the helmet and once with the helmet. Not the whole thing, obviously, but... So, his neck down here at the bottom does not move a whole heck of a lot. It looks like they are removing that articulation from the figures. But he can look up and down a little bit, and his head does turn. Obviously, it is rubbing against the collar of his jacket thing. But he can go all the way around. He's also got a part in his hair. I don't know why, but that seems kind of funny. The arms does hinge up. It is a pain in the butt to move. There is a butterfly joint. Ooh, little air thingy pops off. And he does have the standard ab crunch from ye olden days. We have the bicep cut here. Double jointed elbow. Spin at the wrist. And he does have the up and down articulation, but with the way his cuff is designed, it does not move very well at all. We have the wiggle wobble at the waist, so we can spin it and rotate it a little bit and move it all around. We have drop down hips. Not as drop down as recent as some of the previous figures. We do have a thigh cut, and you'll note the guard on there does rotate with it. So if he rotates it in, he is going to knock his balls real hard, and that's not going to feel pleasant. We have a double jointed knee. This almost looks mechanical in a way to me for some reason. There's no boot cut. And the foot doesn't even... Like, a lot of times when there's no boot cut up at the top, there's usually something down below. Nope. Yeah, there's definitely no boot cut. So they removed that articulation. With the way that the pants are designed, you don't even really get the hinge in the foot like you normally do. But we can still spin the foot around. But that's about it. So that is rather disappointing, and that's going to limit some of the posability with him, I think. Now, we do have a little gas mask thing, which we will put over his head. Oh, shit! Luckily, it appears that that actually comes off. I guess that makes sense because it doesn't need to be able to rotate. You can see his eyes in there pretty well, though. And then we'll plug that into whatever this thing is actually supposed to be. And we'll take his helmet and put it over that. Which has always been a difficult thing, in my opinion. So the only thing that this is going to affect, though, is head movement, which you can still do a little bit up and down. Turning it is kind of an issue, and that pops off when you turn it too far. So we got Blowtorch in his equipment. I'm going to just say this is likely the way most people are probably going to display him. See if we can get his backpack in place. Again, they're still using the soft pegs for that, which makes it a lot harder to get it in place properly. Alright, let's see if we can get this to work. Because it appears the way this is designed, one hand in the front, one hand in the back. It does feel like the plastic on here is still soft, but maybe not as soft as some of the previous ones have been. This is very awkward posing. Okay. So now we do have his file card from the 80s to take a look at. Codename Blowtorch, Flamethrower. File name. Oh, this is going to be a mess right here. Hanrahan. Timothy P. SN number. Primary military specialty, infantry special weapons, aka the flamethrower. Secondary military specialty, small arms armorer. Birthplace, Tampa, Florida, grade E4. Blowtorch is thoroughly familiar with all military incendiary devices and flame projection equipment. To Blowtorch, the use of fire in warfare is a science that predates the bow and arrow. Qualified expert in the M7 flamethrower, the M16, and the M1911A1 auto pistol. Blowtorch can't sleep unless he's near a smoke detector. Cigarette smoke drives him bananas. He always sits near an exit in movie theaters and refuses to live anywhere he can't safely jump out the windows. This is not irrational to him. These are actions based on intimate knowledge. In all truth, this guy's actually a really cool looking figure, and I think he's a great addition to your G.I. Joe Classified collection. I kind of look forward to seeing the retro cardback version in the brighter colors that the original toy was in. But yeah, this guy looks really nice. The helmet was kind of a pain to get on over the mask, but not as bad as some of them have been. Like, you've seen me fight, I think, with some of those goggles and helmets and stuff. So this one was not a breeze, but wasn't horrible. The extra flame effects are cool, especially this one. I personally don't really use these effects in displays because they just kind of get in the way. But otherwise, I think he's excellent. He looks good. I think would have been nicer if they had a better posability on him, especially with the way that he has to hold this. You know, the two-handed hold here. It's always been a problem with the Classified series. Two-handed guns almost never look good because you can't position the hands properly in both positions. Because even now when you look at it, in order to get him to hold it like that, his thumb is not behind it. It's just sitting out there instead. And if I try to put the thumb around there, it comes out of that one. I mean, I think... Oh, that's weird. I was about to make a comment that this hand should have been in and out articulation, but it is in and out articulation. So while they were still trying to compensate for the two-handed hold here, it still didn't really work. Oh, gosh. That's the best I've gotten it so far. It's too bad by the time I get him to put him up in the display, it'll be moved again, I'm sure. It is kind of weird, though. Like, they use soft plastics for a lot of stuff, except for these tubes are not particularly soft. This thing here, we see it a ton in this line of toys. This is the one thing where they really need to use a softer plastic on it. I mean, preferably one that doesn't, like, interfere with the chemical makeup of the other plastics. But these tubes, man, they suck so bad because they always end up being too stiff and keeping the thing out of position. I don't know. I mean, the only other thing you could really do is maybe heat this up in hot water, position it on the figure, and then cool it off really fast to try to get it positioned differently. That's about all I can think of for that. Why don't you guys tell me what you think of Blowtorch here? Is he one of those Joes that you wanted? Or would you prefer the brighter colors of the classic figures from the 3 3/4 inch line? I guess the O-ring line? Or is the more muted colors of this one better, in your opinion? And if you enjoyed this review, please feel free to torch that like button. And if you want to hear more of my nonsense, please subscribe. I thank you for watching. Peace and love.